All right, guys, we are back. This is the next segment in the trader's mindset. Um, this is the second part of the mysteries of perception. We introduced this yet last week. Try to get you to understand, how we can create our own reality, and it may not be what the reality actually is. And it's a big part of what traders do, especially inexperienced traders. We can force ourselves to see something that's just not there, and it's very detrimental to us if we're not cognizant of it. So crucial to expertise is perception, because what we perceive dictates what we can process, store, and ultimately draw upon. Something can be in our field of vision, but we may not see it. Likewise, something cannot be in our field of vision, but we can convince ourselves we see it. So it works both ways. All right, and this is a pretty strong quote. So, how do we see it? One of the challenges of becoming a profitable trader is perception. Like I said, it's up there. If we perceive the market to be intimidating, scary, and this mean and nasty place that takes people's money, then our perception will limit our ability to trade effectively. In other words, we'll be trading from a place of fear from day one, and we won't be able to effectively make money, because our fear will keep us from doing the things that we need to do. We have to take risk in order to make money in trading. Bottom line, we have to take risks. And we have to take risks, more risks than what you're led to believe when you come into trading. It's just that simple. But we have to learn how to view the market as an ATM, not this scary place that is just waiting to take our money at every turn. Okay, we've got to get that out of our minds. All right, so we have to change how we perceive this market. We have to. Okay, so since we can't change the market, I don't know why this thing keeps going back. Since we can't change the market, we have to change our perception of it. Most of our stress comes from our response to how we see, or perceive the market, not the reality of what is. Okay, and this is, if you look down into this cave that you see me going down into, you're looking down into that, and there's no way of seeing what's on the other side. You're going down into the cave, and if you perceive this cave as a nasty, scary place, you may take a few steps into it, but then you're going to come back. But once you get through it, look at what's on the other side. A beautiful private beach. It's the same way with the market. If we don't change the way we perceive it, we're not going to reap the benefits and enjoy the fruits that are on the other side. It's going to be very difficult. So now we're going to talk about perception and how it relates to how you learn. and how it's affecting your learning ability in trading. You know, initially, all learning comes from perceptions, which are directed to the brain by one or more of the five senses. Okay, sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. Okay, psychologists have also found that learning occurs most rapidly when information is received through more than one sense. Okay, let me repeat that, because the reason why this is important is because this was very important in my teaching. And, you know, probably which is why they made us take the classes in psychology that we did. And, you know, what helped me become more of a psychologist than a damn teacher. But, you know, psychologists have found that learning occurs most rapidly when information is received through more than one sense. So in my teaching, it wasn't me sitting here just presenting and they're listening to me. You know, I'm going to have examples. They're going to be able to see and experience what I'm teaching them. You know, I wanted it to be more of an interactive classroom. So right now, you're listening to me. You're kind of, you know, seeing the presentation, what I'm telling you, and I'm expounding on that. But you need more than this. You need the live training experience. Okay, you need, you know, what comes with what we do every day, you know, live, and that's why I call it the classroom versus a chat room, because it's not about chatting, it's about learning. Okay, it is about learning. So everyone has heard the expression, people see what they want to see. Just like people hear what they want to hear, they see what they want to see. All right, let's think about this. When you decide earlier in the day, let's say now you're thinking about dinner, and you know you want lasagna for dinner. Okay, and you want it from this restaurant. And I'll say the restaurant, one of the Italian restaurants we have here is Pasta Fresca. And let's say that's that's the favorite place for you to get this lasagna. You love it. So when you go to the restaurant and the waiter or waitress comes up to you and greets you and says, "Let me tell you about my specials," are you going to even care about those specials? Okay, you don't want to hear it. And guess what? You're not going to hear it. Unless one of those specials happens to be lasagna, or she says the word lasagna when she's talking about the specials. All of a sudden, it'll snap you out of it, and you'll start listening to what she's saying. That's the way we are. You know, we know what we want when we go, and nobody's going to talk us out of getting what we want. And we're going to not listen until we hear what we want to hear. And it's kind of the way, you know, a lot of you guys are in this trading deal. You know, unless somebody tells you what you want to hear, you're not going to follow. You're not going to listen to them. And it's very difficult to get what you need when you really don't know what you need. Right? You really don't know. So all you're listening for are buzzwords. Easy, quick, money, $1 million. I mean, buzzwords that wake you up. Other than that, you're not going to hear anything. So, people see what they've learned to see. And everything else is invisible until they learn how to counteract the energy that blocks their awareness of whatever is unlearned and waiting to be discovered. Now, that's a quote, direct quote from Mark Douglas. We all know how revered he is. And even some people reject his teachings because it's not a quick fix. It's not an easy quick fix. And it is very difficult. Sorry about that. That's not my mom. It's very difficult to move forward. So look at this. Most learning occurs through sight, but the combination of sight and hearing accounts for about 88% of all perception. Okay, that's why when we're teaching a class, or I'm teaching, I'm going to have some type of presentation. There's going to be some type of visual aid. When we're teaching, as we're trading, it would not make sense for me to have a dead chart up talking about what I'm trading, or not having a chart up that I'm trading so that you could see, hear, you could see what you're hearing. You can connect the two, because sight accounts for 75%, hearing 13. I mean, shoot, you got it locked up right there. And here we have touch, but I would change this to feel, because you can feel without touch. Am I right? You can feel without touch. And so I'm going to say 6% is, how you feel. And that, adds into what you perceive. If you feel something is not good, are you going to, that's going to throw a wrench into your party. So this is very, these things are very important. Even feeling, hearing, seeing. Okay, now smelling and tasting is kind of hard to smell the market. It's kind of hard to taste the market, But that's only 6%. So we pretty much have it covered when you're able to, you learn how to feel the flow of the market. You're hearing what I'm teaching you, but you're able to see it in action. You cannot discount that. Alright, so perception involves more than the reception of stimuli from 5 senses. Your 5 senses. It also involves a person giving meaning to those sensations. So, like I was telling you about feeling. If you're feeling something, if it's feeling scared, if it's feeling happy, if it's feeling sad, guess what? We give meaning to that. Something that makes me sad may not make another person sad. They may have a different feeling to it. They may assign a different feeling to that sensation. Like something, if you touch something that's hot and you assign the feeling that, hey, this is really hot, I can't deal with this. But then somebody else comes along and they touch it, and to them they assign it as warm. Okay, so it's all about the meaning that you give to the input that's coming your way. So people base their actions on the way they believe things to be. Doesn't matter what anybody says, it's what they believe it to be. And, you know, if their mind is closed up, then you're not going to get through to them. See, the sight include the factor of watching others' charts, and we subconsciously change our trading plans. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a part of perception, because you don't have confidence in what you're doing, and you perceive that the person that you're going to follow knows better than you. So definitely filtering out the noise is going to help, you know, in this case. You know, absolutely. Now, if it's a person that you're learning from, it's a different story. You know, but if it's just somebody else and, you know, they're going through the motions like you, absolutely not. You got to filter that out. Take that out of your field of vision. All right, most traders perceive a stock ticking against their position as hostile, which causes them to react in that manner. All right, this is one of the reasons why oh man, I lost. I lost my notes. But this is the very reason that most traders can't stay in trades. Why? They take their trades off early. You know, if it's ticking against you, you think it's hostile. You think it's trying to steal something from you. It's trying to take something from you. And when you feel that way, you're going to react that way. You know, and most traders perceive a loss or a trade not working out as a personal move against them. And it's not. And that's why I try to tell you all the time, when we're looking at a trade and we get in it and then it immediately goes against us, that's why I'm telling you, look, this is what happens. This is 100% what happens when a stock breaks a key level. There are going to be other traders on the other side of it. Okay, that's where big money is going to be placing their bets. They're either trying to fill orders or they're trying to close their positions out using your orders. And sometimes it overwhelms us and it pulls it against us for a minute. And it takes a while for them to take their profit, recycle, and then reset, and then it starts to go back in our way. But it happens a lot. It happens to us a lot. So real meaning comes excuse me, only from within a I'm starting to cough now. Real meaning comes only from within a person, even though the perceptions which brings about those meanings result from external influences. Okay, and that's why trying to filter out some of the noise is very, very important. But we have to filter out, you know, a lot of this noise, because it is not good for us. It's going to affect our perception of what's happening. It can alter it. and we may not actually see the reality of what is. Alright, the meanings, which are derived from perceptions, are influenced not only by your personal experience, but also by many other factors. So knowledge of the factors that affect your perception is very important, because perceptions are the basis of all learning. So we went through all of that really to show you, to prove to you that perception is the basis of all learning. So in terms of not only how we perceive the charts, how we perceive the market, it's also all of the other things that surround us that can influence how we see things. So here's some factors that affect your trading perceptions. Okay, your individual goals and values. You know, perceptions depend on your values and your goals. Every experience and sensation, which is funneled into your central nervous system, is colored by your own beliefs and value structures. So, just like some people, losing money is no big deal. They've done it. They've been there, done that. It's not a big deal. They were not brought up being taught that the world ends if you lose $5. Alright, so if our value system, our belief system is that it's wrong and it's bad to lose money, then that's what we're going to believe. Likewise, if we believe that putting money up for, risking money in the market is considered gambling, and gambling is against the rules of the church, then you're going to feel what you do is dirty. And you're not going to feel good about it. No, so it's all about how you perceive this. Spectators at a ball game may see a foul differently depending on what team they support. And that's big. Like if you like football and there's a offensive or defensive pass interference, it could go either way. If you got two people hand fighting for the ball before it gets there, or pushing and shoving, same thing on the basketball court, a charging foul or a blocking foul. Who we support can alter, how we perceive the foul. So it's something that we have to be aware of. The values of the learner are important because this knowledge assists in predicting how he or she interprets experiences and instructions. Goals are also a product of one's value structure. Things that are more highly valued and cherished are pursued. Those afforded less value and importance are not sought after. Ooh, man, that's a misspelled word. Ooh, sorry about that. I want to change that. That's really bad. So I want to change that while I'm here. It's supposed to be afforded. Alright. So to create your own game in your mind based on your beliefs, intents, perceptions, and rules. Okay, so we create that. And there shouldn't be any doubt about who creates it. Nobody else creates the narrative in your mind but you. If you let somebody else do it, you've got to take that power back from them. Because nobody should create the narrative in your mind. You know, that's something you have to build. And it's based on your perception and your rules. Another factor that affects you is self-worth. Okay, self-worth is a powerful determinant in learning. You know, how a trader perceives him or herself describes in such terms as confident, insecure, has a great influence on how you perceive the market. If a trader's experiences tend to support a favorable self-image, the trader tends to remain receptive to subsequent experiences. If he has a negative experience, which tends to contradict his self-concept, there's a tendency to reject additional learning. And oftentimes, it's not even the teacher. Because we teach you what we know to be right based on our experiences, or at least we should. Yeah, there's some people who have no knowledge other than what they've read. But if we teach it and the students have a negative experience with it, then all of a sudden they're going to reject you and what you're trying to teach them. And it's not even your fault. It could just be a set of circumstances that happen out of your control. Because we know trading, nothing works all the time. So that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. A negative self-image affects perception negatively by introducing psychological barriers. They could be hidden. You know, they may not be right in front of your face, but they could be hidden. That just pops up that you're not even thinking about. You know, and it'll keep you from achieving your goal. It may also hurt your ability to properly implement what's perceived. That is, self-image affects the ability to perform or do things, i.e. trade. Traders who view themselves positively, on the other hand, are less defensive and more receptive to new learning experiences, instructions, and demonstrations. So it's all about having a positive outlook, a positive self-image, so that you could accept the learning that needs to take place. Time and opportunity. It takes time and opportunity to perceive. Learning some things depends on other past perceptions and on the availability of time to sense and relate these new things to the earlier perceptions. Proper process and time are necessary. Now, I've run into a lot of traders who really don't have consistent study times, consistent trading times, and a lot of it has to do with your job and your home life. And I was in that same spot. I taught school full time. I had 2 kids that were in school and in sports and everything, and a wife. And a lot of that time she was in school, you know, getting her advanced degrees. So I had to find a way. I had to find a way for me to fit the proper time I needed to be successful. And that's really, really That's really key. Because if you perceive your life as so hectic to where you can't commit to anything, there's no way you're going to be able to make it in trading because you're having a hard time to commit. So reflection is what brings on that opportunity. When you establish a specific time, let's say in the evening, that you're going to reflect and learn from your trades, that should be time that you figure out and that you could commit to every day. You get your family involved because they've got to know, hey, during this time, you can't bother me. Okay, I'm 100% hyper focused on this. You cannot bother me during this time. And that's going to help you with your, putting in the right time, having an opportunity to study and learn more about the market. It's going to help your perception of being able to perceive what's actually happening in the market. Okay, it's really key. But even with experience, time and practice are needed to relate to the new perceptions and experiences. These come from your reflection. The effectiveness of the use of all properly planned reflection and journaling processes is essential in maximizing the effective use of your time. So it is 100% key. I used to set aside, at first it was 3 hours, but I was always asleep by the time the third hour came. I'd fall asleep in my chair. My wife had to come 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and wake me up because I had fallen asleep on the chair. So I had to just give myself 2 hours, and that worked out perfect. I had my 2 hours, and I was able to, practice, reflect, go back and review the trades in the market, replay sim. A lot of times it was from the day before because the sim hadn't updated with the replay data. This was back in the day, so stop it. So it's very key that you do maximize the effective use of your time. All right, now we're looking at the elephant, not the elephant, the element of threat. The element of threat does not promote effective trading or learning. In fact, fear adversely affects perception by narrowing the field of vision. Okay, that's why you can't trade your way out of a cardboard box if you're scared of the market. And people that come in with tight stops and all of this are scared of the market. That's why they can't really get anywhere. You got a lot of one-hit wonders with tight stops, and you can't make money like that. Okay, the field of vision is reduced. So, for instance, when a trader is frightened by losing on a trade, all of their mental energy is focused on the thing that has generated the fear, losing. And then that's going to create you losing. You're going to create the very thing that scares you to death from losing. So like when a trader is confronted with some type of threat, meaning the trade is moving against your position, your whole focus is going to go to that. You're going to be hyper focused. And if you're scared, you're going to react the wrong way. Now, if that happens, should you let's say you're confronted with a trade that's not working out. If you are not fearful, then you'll be able to come in and make an educated guess, and things should work out really good. But if you don't, if you come in and you're threatened, you feel threatened, you feel like your back's up against the wall, then things aren't going to go well. And we've got to work our way out of that. So learning to trade is a psychological process, not a logical one. Okay, you got to get that. I know it doesn't make sense to the way we were brought up, but trading does not make a whole hell of a lot of sense. When it comes to our regular everyday thoughts and perceptions, it makes a lot of sense when we learn how to perceive the market for what it is. Alright, trying to frighten a trader through threats of potential loss may seem logical, but it's not effective psychologically. So me trying to scare you through loss, continue to tell you're going to lose all your damn money, you're going to lose all your damn money, that's not effective psychologically. And we're trying to fix that. Okay, the element of threat does not promote effective trading or learning. Okay, we got that. We want to make sure that you guys understand that. So, unfortunately, most traders perceive risk to be threatening and viewed in a negative light. It's one of the things that we have to change. Risk is viewed as the enemy to our success, which makes us fear risk, right? It only makes sense. Also, they view losing trades as an enemy to their success. This creates a scenario where a trader will create an environment where fear or hesitation about putting on the next trade will come about. And we all know we can't survive if that's the case. So each trade is simply an edge with the probable outcome, statistically independent of every trade. But if you believe otherwise, then I can see why you're afraid. But I can assure you that your fears are completely unfounded. Another solid case of another solid quote by Mark Douglas. Another solid quote. One trader's perception of risk can easily be perceived as irrational thinking by another trader. There are a lot of traders that bash what I trade, how I trade, and all of that, but they don't realize the success that I do. Okay, but it's because they can't perceive somebody trading that way. They think it's not the way to trade because they're basing their trading on the belief system that they brought in, and that just does not work. It doesn't. Everybody that's tried that, it doesn't work. So you have to change your perception. You can't bring in what you had back in the day. Risk is relative, but to the trader who perceives it in the moment, it seems absolute and beyond question. You can't focus on the risk. The risk has to be accepted before we even get into trading, period. Okay, before we start taking a trade, the risk has to be accepted and we have to move on from it. Alright, so I'm going to close with this quote. Last quote from Mark Douglas. Most traders have absolutely no concept of what it means to be a risk taker in the way a successful trader thinks about risk. The best traders not only take the risk, but they've also learned to accept and embrace that risk. There's a huge psychological gap between assuming you're a risk taker because you put the trades on and fully accepting the risk inherent in each trade. When you fully accept the risk, it will have profound implications on your bottom line performance. In other words, you cannot perceive that risk to be negative. You can't perceive that risk to be scary. Okay, you can't perceive the market as something that's there to take your money. Okay, even if you put a trade on, if you still feel that fear, you haven't accepted it. You have not accepted the risk. So I hope this makes sense. I hope you understand now, have a clear understanding of how your perception affects your trading. You can't perceive a stock ticking against you to be negative or scary. Can't perceive the market to be a scary and dark place where people are everywhere trying to take your money. You can't perceive it that way. You have to look at it as the best opportunity you can ever have to make money. All right, any questions? All right, we're gonna pause. I'm gonna stop the recording and start it uploading. But if you have any questions, go ahead.